Welcome to Partnerships for Profit, the podcast where we bring you inside the world of joint ventures, strategic partnerships, and powerful collaborations. Whether you're looking to expand your network, find new referral partners, or scale your business, you're in the right place. Let's get started.
Hello, and welcome back to another episode of Partnerships for Profit. I'm your host, Ana Del Rio, and this week we're joined by Helen Pamely, a former law firm partner turned high-performance coach, helping lawyers and leaders build careers rooted in fulfillment, purpose, and sustainable success. We dive into mindset, influence, relationships, and the inner shifts that move you from performing to truly thriving. Thank you so much for being on the show today, Helen. How are you doing?
I'm great, thanks. Thanks so much for having me.
Wonderful. I'd love to hear that. Well, go ahead and jump right in and tell us about yourself, like how you got your start and, some things that you want us to know.
Gosh, okay. Well, I guess it's been quite a journey. I mean, I started out as a lawyer in London at one of the really big sort of global firms, like Big Law, as most people know it. And I had this sort of amazing international career, and I stayed in law for quite a few years. But a few years in, I sort of realized that it probably wasn't quite for me. So I started having other interests, looking at different things. And actually, alongside being a lawyer, I actually trained as a psychotherapist because I was really interested in psychology. And I qualified in that, although I didn't practice for all that long. And then I made partner in my law firm. And it was at that point, actually, that I thought, you know what, I want to start my own business. I want to be a coach. I want to work with lawyers and leaders and help people understand how they can really thrive, how they can do well, build the businesses they want, have the lives they want. And so eventually that's what I did. I left being a law firm partner. I set up my coaching business. And now, I work with people all over the world globally. I'm usually based in Asia, but work across almost every time zone. And so it's a pretty cool life.
It sounds very cool. Before we got on, we were having that lovely conversation. So my take on that. But
yeah, absolutely.
So when you're going from law firm partner to entrepreneur, what was the moment like you realized success just really didn't feel like success anymore?
Honestly speaking, I think that point came early in the career for me because law is something you don't just wake up and you're suddenly a lawyer, right? You have to do huge amounts of study. I did a law degree. My original law degree was law with German. So I'd spent time in Germany. I'd spent time in German law firms even. I went to law school. I did all of my training. I did everything. But I think when I actually got there and I got on the ground, I just thought, you know what, actually, this isn't for me. And I think it's that difference of what we think something's going to be like and then what something actually is like in reality. And also the reality of big law is that you are working crazy hours. And aside from the fact that, it's an exciting career, you have incredible opportunities, I think I was just left there wondering, is this really it for me? Does this really fulfill me? And so that sparked this whole journey where I started to explore actually what does fulfill me? What do I really want in my life? And I absolutely love the creativity of being an entrepreneur. I can do anything I want now. I can live wherever I want. No one gets to tell me you're working these hours, you're doing that. I probably work harder than I ever did, to be perfectly honest. But I can do all sorts of different things. I can just start a podcast. I can start a new project. I can take on the clients I want. So honestly speaking, if I look back, would I ever go back? I don't think so.
No. So when you were practicing law, what kind of law were you practicing?
So I was a commercial litigator. So I worked on generally large scale disputes between, say, big companies or banks or high net worth individuals. They were generally international because of the type of work I did. So this was big stuff. It was for lots of money, pretty important stuff. But honestly speaking, I think I probably would have lasted longer in law had I been working more directly with individuals. I think maybe if I'd have been a family lawyer or maybe even a personal injury lawyer or something where I felt like I was directly helping people in a real and tangible way. Not to say I wasn't, but I think being a coach now and also in the work I do, I have that real human contact. And I think for me and my personality, that's just so meaningful. I just can't have my head in documents every day. I might be good at that. Does it mean I love it? Not really.
No, that's very true. So what is it that you actually do? How do you help people? And who do you help?
So I mean, because of my background, I got really, really interested in psychology and human behavior and who we are as people. So the reality is, I help all sorts of different people from all sorts of different backgrounds. It's not like, oh, you're not a lawyer, so I can't help you. It's
Right.
you're a human. So let's look at your mindset. Let's look at what you really want to achieve. Let's look at what you really want from life. And then most importantly, let's look at what's getting in the way. Let's look at those limiting beliefs. What parts of you, what defenses are not allowing you to even believe in the future that you really dream about? And then how do we map out how you get to that point? So in the context of my everyday, that could be to take lawyers, a lawyer who wants to make partner and doesn't really know how, and we create that plan. We help them work out why they haven't got confidence, why they're not speaking up, what's stopping them from going out and winning business. It could be that they're already a law firm partner and they want to grow that business and they want to grow themselves in that process. That's another one. Another big sort of intersection, and this could be lawyers or it could be people in all sorts of different careers, where people say to me, Helen, I'm at a crossroads because I don't really like how my life and career looks. I don't like where I am, but I don't know how to find the next step. And so many people are looking for that map. And I hate to break it to you, but there isn't a roadmap. What there is a framework of doing that inner personal work to help you find your own path out of that. It's the journey I did. It's the journey I've helped a lot of people with. And that's the kind of work that I really love, because that's truly transformational. And it can happen when you're in your 30s or your 40s. It can even happen at retirement, because you say, okay, great, I'm retiring now, but what does this mean? What's my sense of purpose? What's next?
Right, right. So what is the mindset shift that immediately changes how someone shows up?
So for me, in its most simplistic form, which is to make it a little bit oversimplistic, the psyche is made up of lots of different parts. So this is why you can have conflicting opinions and thoughts on the same thing. One day, maybe you go into that meeting and you think, I've got all the confidence in the world. I'm going to speak up. I feel great. The next day you go in and you think, oh gosh, I can't do this. I'm not very good. Oh, that person's there. Actually, they're better than me, so I shouldn't be speaking. Whatever the thing is, we can hold all these different and conflicting parts. And actually, I believe the journey is one of integration. So it's about starting to understand the different parts of our psyche when they're showing up. When's the inner child showing up? The one that's too shy to speak up? You know, where's the adult? And actually, it's this process of getting to know ourselves, realizing that all of these voices and narratives in our mind aren't actually who we are. What they are is personality constructs. And when you start to realize that, what you do is you release their subconscious hold over you, and then you get to choose differently. And that's when you can create the future you want.
That was deep. That was very deep.
It's deep work. That's why it works. That's why it works.
So tell us a story. Everybody has a story of somebody that they've helped, that, you know, that just something transformative. What kind of story do you have that you just kind of will not ever forget?
I think actually it was a story with a client who, it was a little while ago now, and they were struggling to make partnership, and they had everything, and they had the clients, they had the practice, and they were doing everything right, but they were somehow really holding themselves back. And actually, like most people, it was because this client had suffered particular traumas in childhood, which actually those narratives would dictate for them, actually, you're not good enough. If you put yourself forward, they're only going to reject you. When they reject you, that means that you're worthless. And if you're worthless, you shouldn't be doing this job, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And they're completely held back by this. And I actually introduced that client to this way of thinking and parts theory. And it comes from a paradigm in psychology called internal family systems. And I recommended them this book. And this client, she went away and she read the book. And she came back to me and she said, that book has literally changed my life, because I suddenly realized in reading that book that I'm not broken, that there's nothing wrong with me, and I need more compassion for myself. And actually, I'm capable of doing what I want to do. I just have to work with all these different parts of myself and understand myself so much better. And for me, that was absolutely incredible, because I thought, actually, sometimes it's just about us being the right person at the right time for someone to say, hey, have you seen this? Or have you thought about this perspective? And for me, that's why the work is so truly fulfilling, because it is deep. It can change you. I think we all have to be at that point where we're ready, and we're ready to take that step ourselves.
What was the book that you recommended?
So it was one of the books by Richard Swartz on internal family systems. I forget which one which one it is now. He's written lots of different books. I mean, they're all fantastic. There's tons of material online as well. You can look it up. You'll be there Googling right
I will. I definitely will. Oh my goodness. So relationships are a growth engine in your work, correct? So what's the difference between like networking and building relationships that actually scale?
For me, relationships are the beginning and relationships are the end. So in any business, we're talking about people. Like in law, for example, which was my industry, I think people think it's books and being technical and being clever. It's not. Like, law is a people business from beginning to end. Your people are your greatest asset. And it's the same whether you're relating to people internally in your company or whether you're relating to clients. Actually, what we need to be doing is building genuine relationships with people, genuinely trying to help people and form those connections. And if those amount to something, then great. If I can help you out in a certain way, then great. That may not be immediate business. That may not ever be business with that person, but you don't know who they're going to refer you to.
Right.
And so I think what we need to do is drop any sort of transactional mindset around networking and actually just realize that relationships are our most powerful tool. And actually, we want people in our lives. Humans are wired for connection. So let's lean into that.
Absolutely. So, like, what do high performers misunderstand most, like, about fulfillment, even when they look successful, like, from the outside?
They forget who they really are under the surface. They get too busy. They have no time and space in their lives for themselves. They don't step back. And in that busyness, they're so often in fight or flight. So you've got the sympathetic nervous system constantly wired, you're there on the go all the time, go, 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 adrenaline running. And actually, in that space, you can't be in connection with your deeper self to think, well, what do I really want from life? How am I feeling right now? How am I feeling with my work? Is this really where I want to be going? Where do I want to be in 5 years? You can't do it. I think the most powerful tool we all have at any one moment is to reconnect with ourselves in the present moment. Because when you do that, you're able to then work out, who am I right now? How am I choosing to act? And where am I going with intention?
So something that I hear very frequently is how to, like, you need to stay in the moment, staying in the moment, being present in the moment. And I feel like we have a saying, like, beating a dead horse, because you know what I mean? Because it's just so repetitive and like, but what does it mean? And how do you get there? Like, how would you tell someone like me that just is like on the go and my mind is always going here, my mind is always there, to stay in the moment?
Well, the present moment is all we've ever got. The future isn't real yet, and the past is gone. So in that sense, you talking to me right now is the only real thing that's happening. You can be thinking about next week or what you're having for dinner or whatever that is, but actually this is the only real thing. So I think there's something about realizing, actually, gosh, where am I right now? What's right in front of me? We struggle with this because we're running on adrenaline, we're running on anxiety, we're running on stress, like constantly 24/7. One of the best things that I've personally found and I recommend is breath work, because this literally forces you into the body through these breathing techniques, completely scientifically backed. It's incredible. And what this does is it overrides your nervous system, so it brings you back into the body and out of the mind. This is why it is so deeply healing, and it is so transformative, and it can bring you to a place of peace that for a lot of people it's a real struggle to find. Because if I just say to you now, just meditate, your mind's going to be starting all over the place, right?
Right.
You know, you're doing 50 things in the day's busy. But it's anything that brings you into your body. So breath work is super powerful. And I think for some people, they'll say to me, yeah, I like to go for a run, or it's when I'm walking, or it's when I'm gardening. The aim is not to shut off our minds, but to be able to focus. So whatever it takes for us to be able to do that. But first and foremost, we need to get out of fight or flight, because we can't really do very much from that state.
No, you really can't. It's really what is the word that I'm thinking of? Paralyzing. It's really a paralyzing, like, to be in. Oh my goodness. So
Absolutely.
the breath work, the meditation, and when we say meditation, I can't help but always think of the movie Eat, Pray, Love. Have you seen it?
I have. I've read the book. I mean, I live in Bali now, so there's Eat, Pray, Love everywhere. You can go and see the son of the, I don't know what he was, healer who she saw, and all the rest of it.
But her being in there and trying to get into that mindset and not think about, her possibly opening up her own, meditation studio and things like that. It's very difficult. So if someone listening feels stuck or burnout, what would be like the first micro shift they can make today that creates real momentum?
Create space, any kind of space. Just leave your phone at home. Just go for a walk. Notice the trees. Like, notice the sky. If you live near the sea, notice the sea. If you see someone, say hello and smile. For God's sake, smile. Like, so I live in Bali now. We all speak to each other. People think I'm crazy coming back to London, and I end up in all sorts of conversations. But reconnect with the world around you. Notice the world around you. Feel your feet on the ground, and stop being busy, even if it's for 5 minutes.
I was not expecting you to say that. Usually I get the same cookie cutter, responses, but space, that's huge. And sometimes scary for some people, because they think, the space that you're going to miss out on something, or, but like, no, it'll be there when you get back. It's okay. I don't remember what it was like when we didn't have, or we're not connected to everything. So.
And that's the thing. What do we think we're actually missing out on? Another TikTok reel, another Instagram reel, another email, which you can actually get back to in 5 minutes or 20 minutes. And this is the illusion. And this is interesting, because if your mind is saying to you, no, I can't take a break for whatever reason, what is the part of you that's speaking? What's it trying to protect you from? Where's that narrative coming from?
It's a matter of asking yourself those difficult questions and being honest with yourself. Wow.
Yeah.
I love it.
A lot of honesty. Yeah.
Oh, that's scary as well.
You look like I'm really freaking you out. And I'm like, go for a walk. And you're saying, no, give me the cookie cutter response.
No, I love it. No, this is what we were actually looking for. So thank you. That was great. Do me a favor now and tell everybody how they can find you, where they can find you, and connect with you.
Yeah, so I'm on LinkedIn. I spend a lot of time on LinkedIn posting about all these kinds of things and mindset. Often it's in the context of lawyers, but honestly, it's applicable to anyone. I have a website, helenpamely.com, the same email really. So yeah, feel free to reach out anytime. I have a newsletter too. I try and talk about all this stuff and have little action points weekly, actually, to try and get people to have something they can give a go at too as well. Yeah,
that's great. All right. Well, you guys have heard it here. Helen Pamely, thank you so much for being on the show with us. If you like what you saw, please go ahead and like, share, and subscribe. I hope that you guys have a great rest of the day, and thanks so much for watching.
Thanks for joining us on this episode of Partnerships for Profit. We hope you've gained valuable insights on how to form profitable partnerships and take your business to the next level. Be sure to subscribe and leave us a review wherever you listen to podcasts so you never miss an episode. Got a partnership story to share or someone you'd like to see featured on the show? Reach out to us. Until next time, keep building those partnerships for profit.